This mansion is worth $400 million. Billionaires offered even more to buy it, but every offer was rejected. And the reason changed everything. Architects called it one of the most extraordinary homes ever built, a glass palace above the ocean. Some of the richest people on Earth tried to buy this house. The mansion was designed for a life of luxury. But no one ever lived here. The rooms remain exactly as they were built. But the real story behind the house is far darker. The mansion was built for someone very important. But that person never arrived. And the mansion became something else entirely. And the mansion became a haunting, beautiful memory. A memory the billionaire refused to erase. Even for hundreds of millions of dollars. because some houses are not built to be sold. They are built to remember. And that is the real reason. This $400 million glass mega mansion. It will never be sold. Along a remote stretch of coastline stands one of the most extraordinary homes ever built. A mansion made almost entirely of glass. Its estimated value exceeds $400 million. Architects once called it a masterpiece of modern luxury. Yet despite its beauty and staggering price, the property has never been sold. Billionaires have visited. Offers far above its market value have been made, but every single one of those offers was rejected. From the outside, the mansion almost appears unreal. Walls of transparent glass stretch across multiple levels. Every room faces endless ocean horizons. The design was meant to erase the boundary between architecture and nature. Sunlight floods every corridor and every hall. It is a house built for absolute openness. But behind that openness lies a story that few people truly understand. Over the years, some of the richest individuals on Earth have come here. Technology billionaires, energy magnates, international investors searching for the ultimate luxury property. Private convoys arrived through the gates with confidential offers. Some proposals reportedly exceeded $500 million, but none of those buyers succeeded. The owner refused every single offer without negotiation. The property includes every luxury feature imaginable. A private helipad sits above the roof. Terraces stretch across the entire structure facing the sea. Guests arriving by helicopter witness one of the most dramatic homes ever built. From the sky, the mansion appears like a floating glass palace. But despite this spectacular design, the house remains strangely empty. It is maintained perfectly, yet rarely occupied. Luxury surrounds every corner of the property. A panoramic infinity pool stretches toward the horizon. Glass balconies offer uninterrupted ocean views. Every detail was engineered for visual perfection. Yet the mansion feels almost untouched, like a masterpiece waiting for its owner to arrive. But that moment has never happened. Inside the mansion, silence dominates every room. The corridors stretch endlessly through transparent walls. Furniture sits perfectly arranged, yet rarely used. Every space appears frozen in time. Maintenance crews visit regularly to preserve the house. But permanent residents never arrived. The mansion remains a monument to a life that never happened. As construction of the mansion progressed years ago, excitement surrounded the project. Architectural magazines called it revolutionary. Luxury developers predicted it would redefine elite real estate. But during those early years, rumors began to circulate quietly. Whispers among contractors and investors, stories about something unexpected that happened during construction, stories that would change the destiny of the entire project. At night, the mansion transforms completely. The glass structure glows softly above the dark ocean. From a distance, it resembles a giant lantern on the cliff. Locals living nearby rarely speak about the house. Some claim it carries an unusual history. Others say the owner built it for a reason far deeper than luxury. And that reason may explain why it can never be sold. The project began more than a decade ago with an ambitious vision. The goal was to build the most transparent luxury residence ever designed. Hundreds of workers and engineers participated in the project. Massive glass panels were transported from across the world. Advanced engineering techniques were required to stabilize the cliffside structure. Every element was crafted to achieve architectural perfection. But perfection often carries unforeseen consequences. Today, the mansion stands completed yet strangely untouched. Its glass walls still reflect the endless horizon. Its luxury features remain perfectly maintained, yet the property has never changed ownership. Billionaires have tried. Investors have offered extraordinary amounts, but the answer has always remained the same. From the outside, the mansion represents pure luxury. Its glass structure was designed to create a feeling of endless space. Every room connects visually to the surrounding ocean and sky. Architects wanted the house to feel like part of the landscape itself. But despite this breathtaking design, something about the property feels unusual. Visitors often describe an atmosphere that is strangely quiet, a silence that seems deeper than an empty house should ever feel. The interior of the mansion was built to host extraordinary gatherings. Massive open living spaces were designed for private events and elite guests. Luxury designers from several countries contributed to the interior concept. Rare materials were imported from around the world. Italian marble, handcrafted glass structures, and custom lighting systems. Everything was prepared for a lifestyle few people could imagine, yet those events never happened. Several potential buyers arrived with serious intentions. Some were among the wealthiest individuals in the world. Private tours were arranged under strict confidentiality agreements. The mansion was shown only to a small number of select visitors. Many of them were immediately impressed by the architecture. Some even prepared offers during their visit. But something unusual always happened before a deal could be completed. The mansion is protected by an extensive security system. Hidden cameras monitor every entrance and every corridor. Advanced sensors are built directly into the architecture. Even the surrounding landscape is carefully controlled. Such protection is unusual for a private residence, but the owner insisted on absolute security because the property represents far more than a luxury home. The location of the mansion was chosen very carefully. It sits high above one of the most dramatic coastlines in the region. The cliffs provide both breathtaking views and natural protection. Few neighboring properties exist for many kilometers. This isolation was intentional. The owner wanted complete privacy, a sanctuary far away from the attention of the outside world. Building a structure of glass in such a location required extraordinary engineering. The coastal storms here can be extremely powerful. Architects had to design a structure capable of surviving intense winds and saltwater exposure. Massive reinforced supports were hidden inside the glass framework. Special materials were imported to resist corrosion and pressure. The construction cost rose far beyond initial estimates, but the owner insisted that nothing compromised the vision. Beneath the beautiful glass structure lies an entirely different world. Several underground levels were built beneath the mansion. These areas contain garages, security rooms, and private facilities. Some of these spaces remain completely hidden from visitors. Even many contractors who worked on the project never saw them. Their exact purpose has never been publicly explained, and that secrecy has only fueled speculation about the property. The underground garage alone could hold dozens of luxury vehicles. Automated platforms move cars between different levels of the property. This system was designed for private collectors with extensive car collections. The technology is similar to systems used in elite automotive museums. Everything about the mansion suggests it was built for someone extremely wealthy, someone who expected to live here permanently, yet that person never moved in. As years passed, the mansion gained a reputation within elite real estate circles. Agents referred to it quietly as the house that nobody could buy. Investors discussed it at private conferences. Rumors circulated about secret conditions attached to the property. Some claimed the owner placed unusual restrictions on any future sale. Others believed the house carried personal meaning that made it impossible to transfer ownership. But the real reason remained hidden. Today, the mansion still stands exactly as it was completed, perfectly maintained, yet strangely untouched. Its glass walls continue reflecting the endless ocean horizon. Visitors still ask whether the property will ever be sold, but insiders already know the answer, because the mansion was never intended to become just another luxury residence. Its true purpose was something far more personal. The rooftop terraces of the mansion were designed for extraordinary views. From here, the entire coastline stretches across the horizon. Luxury architects imagined evenings filled with private gatherings and elite guests. The terrace alone could host hundreds of people. Every element was created for a lifestyle of celebration and power, but the terrace remains almost completely unused. The grand parties it was built for never happened. Inside the mansion, the dining hall represents one of its most impressive spaces. Designed for private gatherings of influential guests, the table alone could seat dozens of people at once. Luxury designers imagined political leaders, billionaires, and celebrities dining here. The lighting system was designed to transform the entire atmosphere of the room, but today the hall sits quietly in perfect condition, waiting for guests who never arrived. The infinity pool remains one of the mansion's most iconic features. Its edge appears to merge directly with the ocean horizon. Swimmers here would feel suspended above the sea. Luxury resorts around the world copied similar designs, but this pool was built long before those trends appeared. It was intended as the centerpiece of an extraordinary lifestyle, yet the water rarely feels the presence of swimmers. Even the landscape surrounding the mansion was carefully engineered. Designers created gardens that blend with the natural coastline. Rare plants were imported to survive the harsh ocean winds. Hidden pathways connect different sections of the property. From the air, the estate resembles a modern architectural sculpture. But despite this beauty, the grounds remain unusually quiet. Very few people ever walk these paths. Separate guest residences were also built as part of the estate. These suites were designed to host visiting friends and business partners. Each one contains the same luxury materials as the main house. Panoramic views and private terraces complete the experience. The property was clearly designed for a life filled with visitors, yet those guest houses remain mostly empty. Their purpose has never truly been fulfilled. Few visitors ever see the underground entrance system. A hidden tunnel provides secure access to the lower levels of the mansion. This design allows vehicles to enter without being visible from outside. The security system rivals those used in high-level government compounds. Such extreme privacy raised many questions among observers. Why would a private residence require such protection? The answer may lie in the true story behind the property. As the sun sets over the ocean, the mansion appears almost magical. Its glass walls capture the last light of the day. From a distance, it looks like a monument rather than a house. A monument built with unlimited resources and ambition. Yet monuments are usually built to remember something important. And that raises an intriguing question. What exactly was this mansion meant to represent? The mansion even contains its own private art galleries. These rooms were designed to display rare collections and sculptures. Curators helped design the lighting and layout of the galleries. Every detail was carefully considered to protect valuable artwork. Yet the galleries remain almost completely empty. The collections that were expected to arrive never appeared. Another mystery surrounding the unfinished story of the mansion. Sometimes the mansion disappears entirely within coastal fog. Only the faint outline of glass remains visible. From the sea, it looks almost like a ghostly structure. Fishermen who pass the coastline often notice the strange sight: a palace of glass hidden inside the mist, a house built for a story that never fully unfolded, and a mystery that continues to intrigue observers. Isolation remains one of the mansion's defining features. The nearest town lies far beyond the cliffs and coastal roads. Visitors must travel carefully to reach the property. This distance protects the estate from unwanted attention, but it also reinforces the strange loneliness surrounding the mansion. A structure designed for life and celebration, standing quietly alone beside the sea. At night, the mansion glows above the cliffs like a lighthouse. Its interior lights reveal the vast, transparent structure, but inside the halls remain silent and still. Security systems operate quietly behind the scenes. Maintenance teams occasionally check the property, yet permanent residents never appear. The house continues waiting. Rumors surrounding the mansion have continued for years. Some claim the owner lost interest in the project. Others believe personal tragedy changed the future of the house. A few insiders suggest the property was never intended to be sold. Instead, it may have been built as something else entirely, something deeply personal to its creator, but the truth has never been publicly confirmed. Morning light reveals the full beauty of the structure. The mansion shines brightly under the rising sun. Architects around the world admire its design. Real estate experts still estimate its value in the hundreds of millions. Yet despite this extraordinary worth, it remains unsold, a luxury masterpiece waiting for an owner. But perhaps ownership was never the true purpose. From a distance, the mansion appears small against the vast ocean, but its story has captured attention across the world. Luxury investors continue to ask about the property. Journalists attempt to uncover its hidden history. Real estate experts debate its unusual status. Yet the mystery remains unresolved. Why would such a valuable property remain forever unavailable? The mansion still stands exactly where it was built, a $400 million glass masterpiece overlooking the sea. Its architecture continues to inspire designers and architects. Yet its doors remain closed to potential buyers, because somewhere within its story lies a hidden truth, a reason powerful enough to stop every sale, and that reason will soon begin to emerge. For years, the identity of the mansion's creator remained mostly hidden. The project was developed quietly through private investment companies. Construction records revealed little about the true owner behind the design. But eventually, investigators began connecting the pieces. The mansion had been commissioned by one of the world's most private billionaires, a man who built his fortune in global technology investments, and who almost never appeared in public interviews. The billionaire behind the mansion had spent decades building a powerful global empire. His companies invested in advanced technology, artificial intelligence, and energy infrastructure. Few people outside elite financial circles knew much about his personal life. He avoided publicity and rarely attended public events. Yet, within the investment world, his influence was enormous. His wealth had grown into the tens of billions of dollars, and his projects often pushed the limits of engineering and design. Like many ultra-wealthy individuals, the billionaire owned multiple properties around the world: private islands, luxury penthouses, and estates across several continents. But according to people close to him, one project mattered more than all the others: the glass mansion overlooking the ocean cliffs. It was not simply another luxury investment. It was something deeply personal, a project that consumed years of planning and enormous financial resources. The billionaire personally supervised many aspects of the mansion's design. He worked closely with architects from several countries. The project required complex engineering solutions to stabilize the cliffside structure. Massive glass panels had to withstand powerful ocean storms. Every element of the design was carefully reviewed. Perfection was not optional. It was the central principle behind the entire project. Building the mansion was one of the most difficult architectural challenges ever attempted on the coastline. The cliff had to be reinforced with deep structural anchors. Specialized materials were imported from multiple countries. Construction teams worked for years to complete the complex structure. Costs quickly climbed far beyond initial expectations. But the billionaire never reduced the budget. He insisted the vision must be completed exactly as designed. When the mansion was finally completed, it immediately captured global attention. Architectural magazines described it as a masterpiece of modern design. Luxury real estate experts called it one of the most expensive homes ever built. Its transparent structure symbolized a radical approach to architecture. The house appeared to dissolve into the surrounding landscape. But behind that beauty, something unexpected began to unfold. Something that would change the future of the mansion forever. Soon after completion, potential buyers began requesting private tours. Some of the wealthiest individuals on Earth wanted to purchase the property. Real estate advisors believed the mansion could sell for extraordinary amounts. Offers were quietly discussed among elite investors. But something unusual happened during those early negotiations. Every offer was rejected almost immediately, without any attempt at negotiation. The billionaire visited the mansion only a few times after construction. Each visit was brief and private. Staff members noticed that he rarely stayed overnight. Yet, he continued paying enormous costs to maintain the property. Security systems remained active around the clock. Maintenance teams kept every room in perfect condition. But the owner never moved in. Beneath the mansion lies a network of underground levels few people have seen. These areas contain advanced security facilities and private chambers. Some rooms were designed for purposes never publicly explained. Even architects involved in the project were excluded from certain sections. The secrecy surrounding these spaces created intense speculation. Many began to wonder if the mansion served a purpose beyond luxury living, and those suspicions would soon grow stronger. Within just a few years, the mansion developed a strange reputation. Investors referred to it as the most expensive unsold property in the region. Luxury buyers continued asking about its availability, but the answer always remained the same. The billionaire had no intention of selling, and according to insiders, the reason was deeply personal, a reason connected to events that happened during the mansion's creation. As investigators looked deeper into the history of the property, more unusual details began to emerge. The billionaire had purchased the cliffside land long before construction even started. For several years, the land remained completely untouched. No development permits were filed and no public announcements were made. Then suddenly, a massive construction project began almost overnight. Architects, engineers, and contractors were brought together from multiple countries, and the project moved forward with extraordinary speed. The engineering behind the mansion pushed the limits of modern construction. Massive glass panels had to withstand powerful ocean winds and saltwater exposure. Specialized materials were imported from factories around the world. Every structural component was tested under extreme conditions. The project required years of planning and billions in investment, but the billionaire remained personally involved in many decisions. He treated the mansion less like real estate and more like a personal vision. The finished mansion represented one of the most ambitious private residences ever constructed. Architectural critics praised its bold design. Luxury magazines featured the property as a symbol of modern wealth. The transparent structure created an illusion that the house floated above the ocean. It appeared both powerful and fragile at the same time. But while the world admired the architecture, few people understood the deeper meaning behind the project, because the mansion had been built for a very specific reason. During the first year after completion, the mansion attracted enormous interest. Several billionaires requested private tours of the property. Real estate agents believed it could become one of the most expensive home sales in history. Some potential buyers even prepared offers before leaving the estate. But each negotiation ended in the same unexpected way. The owner refused to consider selling the property, and no explanation was ever provided. Despite its incredible luxury, the mansion remained strangely unused. The billionaire rarely visited the property. Staff members maintained the house in perfect condition. Security teams monitored the estate 24 hours a day. But the owner never moved into the mansion permanently. Months passed, then years, and the house remained almost completely empty. Some observers began wondering whether the location itself played a role in the mystery. The cliffside environment is both beautiful and dangerous. Powerful storms sweep across the coastline every year. The ocean constantly reshapes the rocky landscape below the mansion, yet engineers confirmed that the structure was perfectly safe. The foundation had been reinforced far beyond standard requirements, so the mystery clearly involved something else. Attention soon turned toward the underground levels of the mansion. These hidden spaces contained advanced security infrastructure. Private control rooms monitored every area of the estate. Restricted chambers were accessible only through biometric locks. Even some members of the construction team were never allowed to enter certain areas. This level of secrecy was unusual even for ultra-wealthy homeowners, and it suggested the mansion might serve another purpose. From the outside, the mansion appears peaceful and elegant. Its gardens blend seamlessly with the natural coastline. Designers carefully selected plants that could survive the harsh ocean winds. Stone pathways guide visitors around the property. Everything about the estate reflects precision and planning, but appearances can sometimes hide deeper stories, and the true story of this mansion remained carefully concealed. Over time, the mansion began attracting attention from journalists and investigators. Why would a billionaire invest hundreds of millions in a home he never used? Why reject offers that could double the value of the property? And why maintain such extreme secrecy around parts of the estate? These questions slowly transformed the mansion into a global mystery, a mystery that captured the imagination of the public. But the truth was still hidden beneath layers of privacy. The longer the mansion remained unsold, the more curiosity grew. Luxury investors began referring to it as the world's most mysterious property. Real estate experts debated the owner's motives. Some believed it was simply a personal retreat. Others suspected the house carried emotional significance. But a few insiders hinted at something far more complicated, something connected to the billionaire's past. As the sun sets across the coastline, the mansion appears almost timeless. Its glass walls capture every color of the evening sky. Architects still study the structure as an example of modern luxury design. But the mansion represents more than architecture. It represents a personal story hidden within its walls, a story that explains why the owner refuses to let it go. And that story is slowly beginning to emerge. One of the most intriguing parts of the mansion is the private gallery wing. The rooms were designed to display rare collections and historical artifacts. Curators helped design the lighting and layout of these spaces, but strangely, the galleries remain almost completely empty. No major collections were ever installed here. The rooms stand ready but unused. Another unanswered question in the story of the mansion. Local residents have watched the mansion for years. Many remember when construction first began. Some believe the billionaire originally planned to live here permanently. Others believe the mansion was meant for someone else entirely. Stories like these circulate quietly along the coastline, but no official explanation has ever been confirmed, and the truth remains carefully protected. From the air, the mansion appears peaceful and majestic, but behind its beautiful architecture lies a story filled with unanswered questions. Why did the billionaire build such an extraordinary property? Why refuse offers worth hundreds of millions of dollars? And why leave the mansion almost completely unused? The answers to those questions are finally beginning to surface, and they reveal a far more personal story than anyone expected. The mansion still stands exactly as it was built, a $400 million glass masterpiece overlooking the ocean. Yet it remains one of the most unusual properties ever created, because its value was never purely financial. For the billionaire who built it, the mansion represented something deeply personal, a memory, a promise, and perhaps a regret. And that truth will soon begin to reshape the entire story. As years passed, the mansion slowly transformed into a symbol of mystery. Real estate experts continued asking the same question. Why would a billionaire refuse to sell such an extraordinary property? Luxury buyers were still prepared to offer record-breaking amounts. Yet every proposal was rejected immediately. The mansion remained under the billionaire's direct control, and his reasons were never publicly explained. Inside the mansion, everything remains perfectly preserved. Furniture stands exactly where it was placed years ago. Decorations remain untouched by time. Even the lighting system operates exactly as it was originally programmed. Maintenance teams quietly keep every room in flawless condition. Yet despite this effort, the mansion still feels strangely incomplete, like a story that was never finished. Security around the estate remains extremely strict. Access to the property is carefully controlled at all times. Even real estate agents rarely receive permission to visit. The billionaire insisted that privacy remain absolute. Some believe he feared unwanted attention from the public. Others believe the mansion protects something more personal, something that must remain hidden from the world. Locals who live along the coastline have watched the mansion for many years. Some say the billionaire originally planned to retire here permanently. Others believe the property was meant for someone very close to him. Stories about the mansion have circulated quietly through nearby towns, but no one truly knows what happened during those early years. The owner never discussed the house publicly, and the mystery surrounding it only continued to grow. From above, the mansion appears calm and peaceful. Its glass walls mirror the ocean and sky perfectly. Architects still describe the house as a masterpiece of modern design, but design alone cannot explain the billionaire's decision, because the mansion was never meant to be just another luxury home. It represented something deeply personal to its creator, something far more important than money. The underground sections of the mansion continue to attract intense curiosity. These areas contain advanced monitoring systems and private chambers. Some sections remain completely inaccessible even to maintenance staff. Security records show that only the billionaire himself has full access. The purpose of these rooms has never been revealed publicly, but insiders suggest they may hold the key to the entire mystery, a clue to why the mansion can never change ownership. At night, the mansion takes on an almost surreal appearance. Its glowing glass walls overlook the dark ocean. From a distance, it resembles a monument rather than a residence, a monument built for a moment in someone's life. Perhaps a moment of success, hope, or remembrance. Whatever its purpose, the house has become something more than property. It has become a symbol of a story yet to be fully revealed. With each passing year, the mystery surrounding the mansion continues to grow. Luxury buyers still ask whether the property might eventually be sold. Real estate analysts continue estimating its rising value. Some believe it could one day sell for more than $500 million. But the billionaire who built the mansion remains silent. And silence often hides stories the public has not yet heard, stories connected to personal history. From the air, the mansion seems small compared to the vast ocean surrounding it. But the story behind the house is anything but small. It involves ambition, wealth, and deeply personal decisions. A story that few people have been allowed to hear. And yet that story explains everything. Why the mansion remains empty, and why it will likely never be sold. The mansion still stands exactly where it was built, a $400 million glass masterpiece overlooking the sea. But its true value was never measured in money. For the billionaire who created it, the mansion represented something far deeper, a memory that could not be replaced, a promise that could not be broken, and a story that would soon begin to surface. For many years, the mansion remained a mystery to the outside world, but people close to the billionaire knew that the house was never meant to be just a luxury residence. It had been built for a specific moment in his life, a moment that he believed would change everything. The mansion was meant to become the place where he would finally slow down after decades of building his empire, a place where success would be replaced by peace, but life rarely follows the plans we carefully design. During the years when the mansion was being designed, the billionaire's business empire was expanding rapidly. New technology investments were transforming industries. Financial magazines began listing him among the wealthiest individuals on the planet, but his personal life remained hidden. Like many billionaires, he could have lived anywhere in the world. Private islands and luxury estates were always available. But the cliffside mansion was different. It was the only property he personally designed from the ground up, reflecting his own vision. The house represented something far more meaningful than luxury. It had not been designed for him alone. It was meant to be shared with someone who had supported him long before his success, a place where work would give way to peace. The mansion contains several private bedroom suites overlooking the sea. Each one was carefully designed for comfort and calm. He wanted the house to feel peaceful and open, a place where life could finally slow down, but those rooms would never be lived in that way. He promised that once the house was finished, everything would change. He would spend more time with the people he loved. The mansion would become the beginning of a new life, but fate had different plans. The mansion was completed exactly as designed, but shortly before he moved in, something happened that changed his life completely. The plans for the mansion suddenly stopped, and the house was never used as originally intended. The billionaire withdrew from public life for months. The mansion stood finished and ready, but its owner never returned. In the years that followed, his wealth grew even larger, yet the mansion remained untouched. It represented something painful. Today, the mansion remains exactly as it was completed, a breathtaking symbol of ambition and success. A moment that explains why the house remains empty. No amount of money will convince him to sell a memory that cannot be replaced. Inside the mansion, everything appears perfectly preserved, yet the atmosphere feels unusually quiet. The house was meant to mark the moment everything slowed down, a dream of a simple life that never had the chance to begin. Shortly before the mansion was to open, tragedy struck. Someone important suddenly became ill. Within weeks, everything changed. Personally, he remained absent from public life, spending every day beside the hospital bed. The mansion's lights stayed off. As months passed, the condition worsened despite every effort. The mansion, a symbol of hope, remained distant and silent. When the news finally came, the person the mansion was built for was gone. The dream disappeared instantly. It changed forever. The billionaire returned briefly, walking slowly through each room. When he left the property that day, he never returned again. He refused to abandon it, maintaining the estate perfectly. It had become a monument to a memory he could never let go. Money had never been the reason the house existed, and money would never be the reason it changed ownership. Over time, it became known as the house that would never be sold. The billionaire maintained it in silence, and the mystery grew. The gallery rooms remain the quietest. Originally meant for rare collections, they now reflect the silence of a reshaped future. From the sky, it appears extraordinary. Its value rises each year, yet it remains untouched by the market. It cannot be recreated. The story is not about luxury. It is about how success and loss collide. Ambition became memory, and he refuses to erase it. Today, it stands as a 400mm masterpiece, but for him, it is a promise that could never be fulfilled, a future never lived. After the tragedy, he made a quiet decision. Nothing would be changed. The house would become a permanent reminder of the future that never came. The bedroom suites capture the sunrise each morning. Every detail reflects elegance, yet no one has ever lived here. It can never be replaced. Visitors describe a powerful atmosphere, like a moment preserved in time. The billionaire protects that memory, even if the house remains empty. The gardens are carefully maintained. To outsiders, it seems unusual, but for the billionaire, the estate is a place of memory. The mansion appears timeless as the sun sets. It represents something deeper than wealth, the moment everything changed. That moment echoes in every room. Even the hidden underground levels remain untouched, permanently sealed except for maintenance. They hold personal items connected to the past. Years have passed and the value has increased dramatically, yet he remains firm. The mansion will never enter the market. Its story is tied to the memory. From above, it appears small against the ocean, but its story is deeply human, about love, loss, and memories too valuable to replace. The mansion still stands as a 400mm glass masterpiece, but for the man who built it, it holds a promise that was never fulfilled, and that is why it will never be sold. Today, the mansion remains exactly where it was first completed, a glass structure standing quietly above the ocean cliffs. From a distance, it still looks like one of the most luxurious homes ever built. Architects continue to admire its design and engineering. Real estate experts still calculate its rising value each year. But despite its enormous financial worth, the mansion has never entered the market, because the house represents something far more personal than property. Inside the mansion, everything remains perfectly preserved. The rooms look exactly as they did on the day construction was finished. Furniture has never been rearranged. Decorations remain untouched by time. Maintenance teams quietly protect every detail of the property. But the mansion is no longer waiting for a new owner. It has become something entirely different. For most people, a house of this value would be considered an investment, a luxury asset waiting to be sold to the highest bidder. But the billionaire who built this mansion sees it very differently. To him, the house is not an asset. It is a memory frozen in architecture. Every room holds the echo of a life that was once imagined, and that memory cannot be transferred to someone else. Friends of the billionaire say he rarely visits the property anymore. The mansion remains under constant maintenance and security, but its owner prefers to remember it from a distance. Occasionally, he asks his staff for updates about the estate. Every detail must remain exactly the same. Nothing inside the house is allowed to change, because changing the house would mean changing the memory it protects. The bedrooms were designed to greet the sunrise each morning. Architects carefully position the windows to capture the first light of the day. Every element of the room reflects calm and simplicity, but no one wakes here each morning. The rooms remain untouched by daily life. They represent a future that was carefully planned and a future that never arrived. The estate surrounding the mansion is still carefully maintained. Gardeners protect every plant and pathway. Stone walkways remain clean and perfectly preserved. From the outside, everything appears ready for life to begin. But the mansion is no longer waiting for that moment. It has become a monument to a chapter of life that ended too soon. And monuments are rarely meant to be sold. Over time, the mansion has become something of a legend among luxury real estate circles. Investors often ask whether the owner might one day reconsider selling. Some believe every property eventually reaches the market. But those who understand the story know that this mansion is different. Its value cannot be measured in financial terms. The house represents something that money cannot replace, and that is why it remains beyond the reach of buyers. The gallery rooms remain one of the quietest spaces inside the mansion. Originally, they were designed to display rare collections from around the world, but those collections were never installed. Instead, the rooms remain almost completely empty. Their silence reflects the unfinished story of the house, a story that belongs to the person who created it, and to the memory he chose to preserve. From the sky, the mansion appears peaceful and timeless, a structure of glass standing quietly above the sea. Architects see innovation, investors see value, but the billionaire who built the house sees something very different. He sees a moment in life that can never be repeated, and that moment lives within the walls of the mansion. In the end, the mystery of the mansion is not about money or architecture. It is about the choices people make after loss. Some memories fade with time, others become too powerful to release. For the billionaire who built this house, the mansion represents one of those memories, a promise that could never be fulfilled, and that is why the house will remain exactly where it stands. As time passes, the mansion continues standing exactly as it was built. Its glass walls reflect the changing sky and ocean every day. Architects still admire the design as a masterpiece of modern engineering. Luxury investors still calculate the rising value of the estate. But none of that changes the reality behind the house. The mansion was never meant to become a business transaction. It was meant to become part of someone's life story. Inside the mansion, the atmosphere remains calm and untouched. The rooms look exactly the same as the day they were finished. Nothing has been redesigned or replaced. The furniture remains in perfect condition. To visitors, the house may look ready for new residents, but its owner never intended for anyone else to live here. The mansion belongs to a memory that cannot be replaced. Every evening, the mansion reflects the colors of the setting sun. Its glass walls glow softly against the ocean horizon. From a distance, the house appears peaceful and timeless, but the silence surrounding the property tells a deeper story. The house was designed for shared moments and celebration. Yet those moments were never experienced, and the mansion continues waiting for a life that never began. Many investors have wondered why the billionaire refuses to sell. The property could easily break global luxury real estate records, but wealth is not always the most powerful force in a person's life. Sometimes memories become more valuable than any financial offer. For the man who built the mansion, this house represents a promise connected to a moment that can never be recreated, and promises like that are rarely sold. The bedroom suites remain one of the most personal spaces in the mansion. They were designed to greet the sunrise each morning. Large windows frame the ocean horizon perfectly. Everything about the room reflects calm and simplicity, but the billionaire rarely enters these spaces anymore. For him, the rooms represent a future that never arrived, and some places become too emotional to revisit. The gardens surrounding the estate are carefully maintained year after year. Landscape teams protect every tree and pathway. From the outside, everything appears ready for a vibrant life. But the house is no longer waiting for that future. It has become a preserved moment in time, a place where the past continues to exist, even as the world outside keeps moving forward. Local residents have watched the mansion for many years. They often see the structure appear through the morning fog. Visitors sometimes stop along the coastal road to take photographs. Many wonder why such an extraordinary house remains empty. But the full story is rarely shared, because the meaning behind the mansion belongs to one person alone. And that person has chosen to keep the story private. The gallery wing remains one of the quietest parts of the mansion. Originally, it was meant to display rare collections and artifacts. Curators helped design the lighting and layout of the rooms, but the collections were never installed. The rooms remain empty to this day. Their silence reflects the unfinished plans of the house and the memories that replaced those plans. From the sky, the mansion appears calm and almost timeless. Its transparent structure blends into the surrounding landscape. Architects continue studying its design for inspiration. Real estate experts continue calculating its market value. But the owner of the mansion sees something entirely different. He sees a memory that cannot be replaced and a story that belongs only to him. Many people believe that every property eventually finds a buyer. But the mansion challenges that assumption. Its owner has repeatedly rejected offers worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The decision has puzzled real estate investors around the world. Yet the reason behind the choice is surprisingly simple. The house was never built for profit. It was built for a moment in life that could never be repeated. The billionaire understands that the mansion could easily be replaced by another property. With his wealth, he could build even larger and more extravagant homes. But this particular house represents something unique. It holds the memory of a dream that once existed, a dream of a life that was meant to begin here. And dreams like that cannot be recreated through money. They exist only once. Each morning, the mansion greets the sunrise exactly as it was designed to do. The glass structure captures the first light of the day. From the outside, everything appears peaceful and perfect, but the house remains untouched by daily life. No footsteps echo through the corridors, no conversations fill the living spaces, only the ocean continues its endless rhythm. From a distance, the mansion seems small against the vast ocean horizon, but the story behind the house has captured global attention. Journalists, investors, and architects continue discussing its mystery. Yet the answer to that mystery is deeply human. The mansion represents the moment when success collided with loss, and the house became a symbol of that moment, a symbol the billionaire refuses to let go. In a world where luxury properties are constantly bought and sold, this mansion remains different. It stands as a reminder that not every decision is driven by money. Sometimes emotional value becomes more powerful than financial value. The billionaire could sell the property tomorrow if he wished, but doing so would mean letting go of something deeply personal, and some memories are simply too important to exchange, even for hundreds of millions of dollars. The mansion remains exactly where it was built, a glass structure standing quietly above the sea. To the outside world, it represents extraordinary wealth, but for the man who built it, the mansion represents something far deeper. It holds the memory of a promise that could never be fulfilled, and that memory is the real reason the house will never be sold, no matter how valuable it becomes. Over the years, the mansion has become more than a house. It has become a quiet symbol along the coastline. Travelers passing nearby often notice the glass structure above the cliffs. Some stop to photograph the extraordinary architecture, but very few know the story behind the empty rooms. A story about ambition, love, and unexpected loss. A story that transformed a luxury home into something far more meaningful. Inside the mansion, every room still reflects the original vision of its creator. Nothing has been changed or redesigned. The spaces remain exactly as they were planned, but they now represent a life that was never lived here, a future that was imagined but never experienced, and the billionaire has chosen to keep those rooms exactly the same, preserving the moment that inspired them. Many people believe that wealth can solve every problem, that money can replace anything that is lost, but the story of this mansion proves otherwise. Even the richest individuals face moments that change their lives forever, moments that cannot be reversed or replaced. The mansion became a reminder of one such moment, and that reminder remains protected within its walls. The estate surrounding the mansion continues to be maintained carefully. Gardeners protect every plant and pathway. Security teams monitor the property quietly each day. From the outside, the house still looks ready for life to begin, but its purpose has changed. The mansion is no longer waiting for a family to move in. It is preserving a memory. Local residents have watched the mansion for many years. Some have grown accustomed to seeing it appear through the morning fog. Others have heard the rumors about its mysterious story. But the truth remains known only to a small circle of people. The billionaire has never publicly explained his decision. Instead, he allows the mansion to speak quietly for itself, a silent monument overlooking the ocean. Architects around the world continue studying the design of the mansion. Its transparent structure remains one of the most unique homes ever built. Luxury real estate experts estimate that its value continues to rise. Some believe it could eventually exceed $500 million. But the billionaire who built the house has never shown interest in selling. For him, the mansion is not a financial asset. It is a personal landmark in his life. Even the hidden underground sections remain carefully protected. These spaces contain personal items and private facilities. Few people have ever entered them. The billionaire ordered that these areas remain exactly as they were built. They are maintained, but rarely used. For him, these rooms represent the most personal part of the house, and the memories stored there remain private. Years have passed since the mansion was first completed. The world has changed in many ways since that time. New fortunes have been created and lost. New luxury homes have been built across the globe. But this mansion continues standing exactly as it was designed. Its story remains tied to a single moment in one man's life, a moment that changed everything. From a distance, the mansion appears small against the vast ocean horizon. Yet its story has captured the imagination of people around the world. The house represents the intersection of wealth, ambition, and personal loss. A reminder that even the most successful lives contain moments of deep emotion, moments that redefine the meaning of everything that came before. And sometimes those moments become permanent parts of the places we build, places that can never be replaced. The mansion still stands exactly where it was built, a $400 million glass masterpiece overlooking the sea. To outsiders, it represents extraordinary wealth and architectural brilliance. But for the man who created it, the house means something far deeper. It holds the memory of a life that could have been, a promise that could never be fulfilled. And that is the real reason this incredible mansion will never be sold, no matter how valuable it becomes.